Mentally, I was worn out after that year. The world was black and white. Either you were with me or you were against me.
He needs to reduce the mistakes.
Ball across to Dylan. He double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Into the net.
She does it again. Yes.
And Víctor are the champions of Europe. Put something here. She has a game. This is across the keeper. What a comeback!
Fifth episode already of The Spin. We talk handball, and it's the three of us once again. And that guy, he wanted it to be introduced first, and now who would I be if I wouldn't come after that desire? I'm talking about the best rowing machine that you will find outside of your home gym, Martin Vilstrup, and the second one to join me is Mr. Win-It-All, Víctor Tomàs. What's up, boys?
What's up? You forgot to introduce yourself. Are we supposed to do it here now?
Maybe you can just give it a go, Martin.
Yeah, I'm Willers, the host, the one and only, the German expert, Bengt Kunkel.
Well, we're working on that, but it's fine. Victor, how are you?
I'm good. It's so bad that your tournament didn't end yet, Martin, because Bengt, he can introduce you as the champion of champions yet.
But maybe that's something for the next week.
Next week.
Yeah, how's it going in the tournament, Martin? You're playing the Champions Cup.
Yeah, so far so good. We have a game later tonight as well, but we played 3 matches against a team from the Netherlands, Portugal, and then a team from Great Britain, which are primarily guys from France and Portuguese. But we won all 3 games. But we're still in a situation where we have to play against Ciudad de Malaga, and if we lose that one, we are out. Or like in beach handball, for those who don't know, we play 2 sets. But if we win 1 set, we are through. But if we lose 2-0, we are probably out. So it's a different or special situation to be in winning all from the start to now, and then we're still in a spot to go out. But let's see if we cannot make it. We are on a roll. And we have a great confidence at the moment.
But having you on the big screen right now, you took that Danish fan chant, "We are red, we are white, we are Danish Dynamite," a little too serious, didn't you?
It's a great song, by the way, actually. We haven't sung it yet. Maybe we'll do it tonight, and we'll do it in the next episode if we win against Malaga tonight, because they are a great team.
As every man in the world knows, when your skin is red, it will eventually turn brown. So he will be tanned, and we will envy him because he will be tanned in November.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's exactly how it is, Victor.
But
and
that's
actually, I look like a firefighter now, but as Victor said, I will be brown.
Yeah, well, but that's actually the worst about it. It is a purely male wisdom, isn't it? To be saying, well, what's red, it will turn brown eventually.
But that's the secret.
I think it is,
it's our wisdom.
Yeah, so women and female listeners, please turn down your volume for a sec when we're talking about our wisdoms. That's nothing that we want to share with you. But apart from you being sunburned, what would you say, Martin? How's the level of play right now in the tournament?
Well, the thing about Champions Cup is that it's played here in October, and you have many guys playing indoor. Probably not at the highest level in the countries, but at least if not, I know there are some guys here that's playing in the Portuguese league, the first league, and then some in the second league in Denmark, and they made it this year. So I actually think the level is pretty good. And Tigres from Portugal, they brought in some Spanish guys, and they actually also have a Danish guy in the team. So the level looks really, really good, and that's just making the tournament more exciting. And as long as we're winning, I'm not complaining. But let's see when we talk next week if we lost, and then I will say the level was probably too high. But no, it's always beneficial when the best player shows up. That's what we want to do, and that's how we want to marketing the sport.
Who has got the red cross on its back?
There has to be some of the Portuguese teams that are the favorites. It has to be Tigres or Lecce. last year champions had top luck, but we are in a comfortable position when we are the dark horse or the joker. And at the moment, we have beaten Lecce, and we will play against Ciudad de Malaga. So, yeah.
Well, in the last summer in Vienna, when the awards was given to the best players of the season, the best player was a Portuguese player, Conceição. Is he playing there?
He's not playing. I don't know for what reason. His team is playing, and they brought in some 3 Spanish guys from the Spanish national team, and also a guy from Denmark who's playing in the national team. So they still have a really, really strong team. I don't know why he couldn't make it, and that's of course a loss when you don't have the MVP. But they still have a really strong team.
But I mean, in the end, for those of you guys who are listening and who don't know yet what we are talking about right here, Martin is playing beach handball, one of Denmark's best to ever exist in that sport. But what side are you playing for the listeners who don't know that yet?
What side I'm playing for a team called Rødby Beach Boys. It's not my normal team, but they asked me if I wanted to play for them. And since my own team didn't qualify, then of course I said, yes, I will. I like to play every tournament there is. So this year I've been playing a tournament in Germany, the EBT finals, European Championship, European Olympic Games, and now we have the Champions Cup in Portugal also. So next summer there will be the World Championship, EBT finals, and also All-Star match at the Olympic Games. So a lot of great tournaments coming up.
So they had to buy out your contract of your normal team?
Yeah, it was not that expensive. Let's just say a little bit. Maybe I should have said, if you want to buy me out, you should buy sunscreen for me, because in the beginning I was like, yeah, I'm a Scandinavian, I can take a little bit of sun, but it bounced.
Yeah, since Scandinavians are known for being the most sun-tanned people to ever exist.
No, but as Victor said, I will turn red first, and then I will get brown, that's for sure. Well, let's see in the next episode.
How expensive is Martin Vilstrup?
Expensive. When it comes to beach handball, he's not that super expensive, because he has a high motivation to play beach handball, and I've been playing it for now 14 years. So and I'm not getting younger, so every opportunity I have for a new experience, I'm going to take it. And it's only my second time playing the Champions Cup, because, as I said, it's playing in October, and when you have a contract in indoor handball, it's normally hard to get time off to play a tournament that's in the middle of the season. So I'm actually just enjoying every experience I am, but he's not that expensive when it comes to playing beach handball.
But I mean, that has something to do with the introduction, how I introduced you as well. Mr. Rowing Machine, the best rowing machine that you will find outside of a gym. Maybe you can tell us about it. What's the story behind that?
Well, it's whenever I'm in a situation, we have something called a shootout, which are primarily penalties in beach handball. And whenever I can make a decisive shot and, secure my team the victory, then I started rowing. And I just thought that we don't have any celebration in beach handball, and I find it a little bit boring. So now it's become my signature celebration. And I row in the sand. And I think people should come up with it. There's a guy from Lecce, he does the Iceman as well. So whenever he's clutching and decisive, then he does the one as well. So I gotta be known for something, and now it's my celebrations.
Yeah, well, at least there's something to be known for, and that's good. That's good. It's a good thing to have. And I personally love your signature celebration. It's really, really cool. I gotta give you that. But yeah, you didn't lose a set yet, so we didn't see rowing yet. There was no penalty shootout for you guys. But then I was scrolling through the top scorers of the tournament, and there was one name missing. Why is Martin Vilstrup not in the top scorers of the Champions Cup yet?
There are a lot of good reasons. Because he misses all the shots he takes. That's one of the reasons. And I haven't had that many shots. I play, as we call, a fake specialist in the middle, and I like to think that I make good passes for my teammates. And the thing about me, I put myself in a team where I have really great teammates, so I don't have to do anything at all. and I just have to pass the ball to them, and then my job is done.
But I love it because just a week or two ago we did talk about that if you're at 9 out of 9 you got a heat check whether you're still at 100%, and you just do it the other way around. Heat checking, yep, still at 0%. It's running great.
I made a couple of points, but yeah, so far from a scoring point perspective, it hasn't been my best tournament, but still, as long as we're winning, I'm super satisfied, and the other guys are doing really well, and also the defense. So yeah, I can live with that if we win.
What's the ambition for rugby?
What's the ambition? First of all, the ambition is to go through, because there's only 6 teams going through, and within these 6 teams there will be the semifinals. And as we all know, in most sports, if you make it to the semifinal, it's going to be tough. But me personally, I think the team as well, we want a medal. And when you are in a semifinal, you want it to be at least silver or gold. And we're striving for the gold medal. I don't see any reason why we're not allowed to dream. We have showed that we have great quality with the national team, and as a club team as well, unbeaten. Let's play on the high stake and the confidence, and I'm gonna say that we will strive for the gold medal.
Where do you see your chances for that?
As I said earlier, I think we are a joker, and I think there are other teams that may be on the paper are favorites, but we have the experience in our team as well. And if we can go through, let's see, like if we lose the next game, then we're out, and then it's too early to talk about. But if we go through, I actually see ourselves having a great chance to be between the 4 last teams. It's also sometimes about a mix-up, and the Spanish guys, as Víctor also, they are pretty fast, and they're not the tallest one, but they are really fast, and that is not always suitable for the Danish guys, because they are tall and not moving as fast as the Spanish guys in the sand. So the mix-up in general against the Spanish teams, it's not the best for the Danish guys. But the last couple of years we had some great matches, and I hope that we can at least get one set, because then we're through. It will be really sad to be out after 2 days, because we're here to go for some medal.
But would you say about yourself that you used to be quicker? Since you said yourself
I probably
that
was quicker when I was younger. I was probably quicker when I was younger, but isn't it a big cliche that whenever you get older, you just have to get smarter and by the experience? But yeah, of course, I was fast. I don't know if I ever actually been fast. I don't want to take that one, but I definitely didn't get any faster by the age. But more clever, experienced, and I probably reading the game better than I used to before. That's okay. And as long as we, I think in general, Danish beach handball have a benefit, because most of the players in our team and in the national team, they play indoor. And whenever you have that skill from indoor and the understanding of the handball in general, then you can bring some of those skills into the beach handball, and that I see as a benefit for us.
Víctor, how about yourself? Would you say that you used to be quick?
Oh my God! I used to be much quicker. That when the time is passing, and you know, the worst is when you realize that you are not capable to do the same as you did before, and then you get mad with yourself. So yes. To your question, I say yes. I used to be much quicker, yeah.
When was it that you realized, oh well, that ball 5 years ago, I would probably still have gotten that one?
No, it's not a moment, a concrete moment or something like that. It's like that your body is not responding the same way, or maybe your body needs a different preparation. I think the oldest you get, the wisest you get as well, and you know that your body need more treatment, need more care, so you just prepare in a different way.
That is a very interesting topic because, well, I introduced you as Mr. Win-It-All, but we have a guest today as well, and he is, of course, Mr. Win-It-All as well because he won all of it together with you, well, at least most of it, and I am very stoked to introduce him into the show. Mr. Win-It-All 2.0, why not in that direction? Let's introduce him to the show. Jesper Nøddesbo, nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
At first, you gotta help me with your last name, since I'm not a Dane in the round and I haven't shared 10 years of my career with you. How do you pronounce your last name?
I like to hear you pronounce it.
Jesper Nøddesbo?
Nøddesbo. If you're a Dane, then you will like to say it like Nøddesbo. You have to speak like you have a potato in your mouth.
We did hear that quote already in this podcast already. Jesper Nøddesbo.
Much better.
Much better. All right, we take that. How's life? How's life after your handball career?
Life's good. It's different. It's more busy. Yeah, it's I've come to that recognition that handball is like kindergarten. You more or less wake up, eat, practice, go to the toilet, sleep, and do it all over again. You don't have to think that much when you're an athlete, but there is the performing part. That's the tough part of being an athlete, I think.
Do you actually ever use your middle name?
No, not that much. Not that much. But if you want it, you can have it. It's Brian.
That was a good one, Martin, because he hates that middle name, you know. Oh, hello, Jesper, my friend. It's really nice to have you here with us.
It's always nice to see your face. Do you have a wide angle on that camera, or? It's
I'm not as lucky as you. I'm not as...
Your face and your head. It must be very
everything.
Very big camera.
Everything fits. Everything fits, you know. But I'm not as lucky as you that you are in a landscape. No.
But I like
it's
it.
So nice to. Yeah. What do you like, Bengt?
That you guys are already exchanging those nice words towards each other just 5 minutes into the show.
But we lived as man and wife for 8 years, I think.
This can hit it up really fast during the podcast. So wait and see, you know.
So what's the story behind that you guys lived as husband and wife for almost 8 years?
No, we were together in Barcelona, and there we were in the room together. We slept together. I think I slept more with Víctor than with my wife during my years in Barcelona.
Nice way of putting it, that you slept with Víctor, but those were your words. I'm just repeating them.
No, that's my words, and I know that there are a lot of women out there, and also men, I think, that is very envious of me.
It's actually true that we slept together, but I honestly tell you guys, you don't want to see Jesper at 8 o'clock in the morning just after he slept, you know, all this beer and this hair and everything. That's not.
No,
so
I was the lucky guy in that relationship.
Well, I'm not going to be a snitch here, so I'm just going to ask you the question: who was the boss in the room? Because we did have that topic in our WhatsApp group.
Yeah. No, there is no discussion in that one. Víctor was the boss of the room. Definitely. You should see his stuff. He's so well organized, and I'm the complete opposite.
that was actually a arguing point between us, because in preparation in summer camp, you spend 1 week in a hotel room training 3 times a day, and actually, you know, to help you sleep better and to rest better, for me, I like to have an organized environment, you know, in the room. But with Jesper, it was impossible. It was, oh my God, what a disaster.
But I think we were put together just to broaden your horizon a little bit. You're so narrow vision sometimes. I have to push you a little bit sometimes.
I had to step out of my comfort zone. So yeah,
Definitely.
but just to keep organized a little bit this, let's say, interview. Jesper, when let's talk about your career, okay?
Okay,
Because
so now we're talking seriously. Then I'll
yeah,
just
now we're
move
talking
into
a little
position.
seriously. Yeah, because
Let's go.
as long as you don't follow handball that much, right? Now,
No, I really
No.
don't. No, I was thinking about it yesterday because we were talking about handball. I can't remember. I think because I'm training my daughter now. She's 13, and I'm training her. But I don't go to games anymore, and I haven't been to a game during the last 2 years where I stopped with my old club in their home arena. So it's been crazy 2 years.
we will speak about that a little later. But just to start from the beginning, you started your professional career in Team Tvis Holstebro. That was
No.
okay.
No,
No?
actually, I started another place called Hauge GIF. It's a very, very, very small club. Tvis Holstebro was
Okay.
first when I became a senior.
Okay. So, but then after that, you went to Kolding, where
Yeah.
you actually had some success in Kolding, and after that, you make this big step to Barcelona. How was it, both handball-wise and outside handball? How was it for you to step out of your country, a small country like Denmark, small places like Kolding, for example, to go to a big club with big goals like Barcelona?
Actually, it was a quite big step for me to go to Barcelona. For a long time, I didn't know if I could take the step and I could do the choice of going to Barcelona. Actually, I went, I think, more or less a month without being able to take the decision. And actually, at the end of that month, one of my best friends called me, and he told me, if you don't go to Barcelona, I will never ever speak to you again. And that just put the decision on the right spot, and I went to Barcelona. But it was, for me, it was such a big decision, going from my comfort zone, from a club where I knew that I was performing. This was the step to the big stage, to play with the big boys. So for me, that was huge, and also the change of culture, language. It made such a big difference. I remember coming to Barcelona and not speaking very much Spanish, and I played with Kasper Witt at that time, and he was the goalkeeper, and I thought he would help me a little bit, but he was just standing in the goal, just telling me, you have to make your own experiences here. So I remember just trying to keep up and trying to do what everybody else did. So it was a very big step up for me, culture-wise and language, and definitely also a different type of handball.
Reminiscing about that step to Barcelona, what's the first memory that pops up to your mind when you think about that step over to Spain?
My first memory, I actually have two. They came up almost simultaneously. It was having my jersey for the first time and walking into the Camp Nou and getting my photo taken in there. That was something very huge for a guy coming from Jutland and a very small town. And at the same time, the second memory is we played with an Argentinian guy called Eric Gould. My first week at training camp, I just remember him making a jump shot and breaking my nose. So that was just welcome to Barcelona.
And maybe I can have another memory for you as well. When you got your bikes robbed on the street.
Sorry, you just fell out.
When
Sorry?
you got your
bicycles. Yeah, we were.
That's a funny story.
Very, how do you say, gullible, or how do you say we
Naive.
we have a lot of trust in people. So actually, we bought some very nice bikes, and the guy at the bike store sold us a chain that we could use to lock them during the night. So we thought, this will be like in Denmark. We can lock them up and just leave them in the street. And the day after, we looked like stupid tourists, and there was nothing left but small pieces of the chain. That was not very good. That was not the best start of Barcelona.
No. Yeah, but that was really funny when you came to the locker room to explain us this story, and we laugh really loud at you. But yeah, that's to the people who is listening us. That's not Barcelona. Normally you don't get robbed in every corner in Barcelona, so you can come and visit, no problem.
Oh, I just got a call from the marketing chief of Barcelona.
Yeah.
You did a good job, Victor.
Yeah. So after you came to Barcelona and you made this big step in your career, what changed the most handball-wise for you, coming from a Danish handball to a Spanish team? It was hard for you to adapt to a new style of game?
Yeah, at the beginning it was, because we had a new trainer as well when I started. We had Manolo Cadenas at that time, and he was very tough, and he also had a very different belief in handball at that time. It was more or less, sorry for my language, it was more tears, sweat, and big balls. That was his main view of handball, and it was combined with, we played a lot 2 against 2, me with another player, and from there on the game just evolved. And I came from a club in Kolding where everything was very, very organized and put into small boxes, and I knew precisely where I should be at what time. And with Manolo, that changed a lot. The Spanish way of playing handball at that time was much more free. It was much more about reading the game, reading the opponent, reading your teammates. And for me, that was also a big step, or a big change in the way of seeing handball. Yeah, and that was probably, as I remember, the biggest difference from going from the Danish club to Barcelona.
But then you did share the stage with some of the biggest names to ever play handball. What would you say in the end? Who did you learn from the most? And Víctor Tomàs is not an eligible answer.
I cannot say Victor. Okay. Who did I learn the most from? As you say, I have had the pleasure, and I've been very lucky with playing with a lot of great guys. But the one I think that inspired me the most, it must be Nikola Karabatic. For me, he's a complete handball player. He was very good in defense, and he was very good in attack, and he was complete, and he's also a leader in the pitch and outside the pitch. A very humble person, and a good friend, and he knows to lead a team, and he knows how to. He knows when it's crunch time. He knows when it's time to make the big decisions in the game. He's able to control the game. So for me, one of the biggest inspirations has been playing with him for a couple of years.
Is that something?
And that is when I cannot say Víctor Tomàs, obviously.
Good save there. But is that something that you take along to your young handball players that you inspire right now?
Actually, I've become aware of my own way of coaching young handball players, and actually I started out by showing them how to do a lot of stuff, and now I've come to mind that my main job is not to show them. I can support them in their way of developing with handball, but my main job is to not show them, but open possibilities for them to evolve with the handball, if that makes any sense. So I try not to do too many exercises where they are right or wrong. I try to do exercises where we can evolve and we can find our own way to play handball and play with the ball, and definitely have a lot of fun.
Talking about inspiration, I honestly have to say, and I'm not joking, that I learned a lot from Jesper, because handball, you and me, we had a lot of funny moments together, a lot of nice moments together. But I think that the secret when a person is inspiring another ones is that this person that it's inspiring the other ones, he or she doesn't know that he or she is an inspiration for anyone. And for me, I have seen you going through a very, very tough moment in Barcelona, for example, when the staff told you that you were not going to play for next season, and then you convinced yourself that you could win your spot in the team, and you had the contract left 1 or 2 years, I don't remember, and you decided to stay, and you ended up playing in the Final Four and playing amazing. Can you explain us a little bit how was going through this season, where you were week in and week out of the list, training, preparing yourself, being a good teammate, helping everybody, and then when the crunch time is coming, you delivered?
First of all, thank you for the nice words, Víctor. It was actually, I think, as you mentioned in the beginning, I've been lucky enough to win a lot of things, but this is probably one of it is the thing that I'm most proud of in my career. The whole thing started when I was at my summer house on vacation, and the club called me and to tell me that I didn't have my spot, and there was no reason that I could return to Barcelona because I wasn't going to play. And normally I'm very, when I'm given an order, I try to follow it. But during certain circumstances, there was a fire lit in me with a lot of despite. And I don't know if the guys in Barcelona know this, but the whole year, my fire was lit. My eager to work hard in the gym after training, even though knowing that I was not going to play. The only thing that was in my head was this picture of me winning my spot back, seeing Barcelona coming to me and offering me a new contract, and me just saying, that was the main fire that I was working on the whole season. This was such a crazy year for me. I went back to Barcelona not knowing how the teammates and the trainers would receive me. The teammates, obviously, they were so sweet and very nice, and the trainers, I remember Pasky coming to me saying, "Thank you, Jesper, for coming back, and I see that you are on fire. You're eager to train. I'm very happy to see that. Just as you know, it wasn't me that wanted you to stay in Denmark. It was the team manager." And after a little while, the team manager came and gave me the hand, and he told me, "Just so you know, it wasn't me that didn't want you to come back. It was Pasky." So everything was just, we'll leave it there, and we'll just continue working. But I came back, and I didn't have any spot in the team. So I remember trying to keep my head down, just working hard and waiting for my opportunity. So I went a lot to the gym. I ran a lot, and tried to be positive and tried to provide support in every kind of way that I could in the team, so I could in that way make a sense of meaning of me being in Barcelona when I was not playing or not able to be in the team. So that was my way of motivating myself, and eventually after, I think it was after Christmas, so almost a half a year passed by, there came some injuries in the line player spot, and I ended up that year or in the end of the season with more or less the whole game for me, because the two other guys were injured. So I was lucky enough to be prepared and also ready to play, because I was just so much on fire that year internally. On the outside, it was a very tough year, but I was very much on fire. But it also comes with a price. Sorry?
It was at the end of this season. It was at the end of this season when you had offer from Vesprem.
No, that was later on.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because,
I was. Yeah. Actually, I signed. I didn't sign. I made I did an agreement with Kolding to actually come back to them after that season. But then I played. I got a lot of playing time, and I played the Final Four, and it went really well. We didn't win, but I performed well. And I remember you calling Paski, telling him, Jesper haven't signed anything yet. So if you want to continue with him, you have to call him now. And for that, I'm very very grateful, because we had the opportunity to be together another 8 years after that. But all of that comes with a big price. I was mentally worn out after that year. I was down. My world had become very narrow. The world was black and white. Either you were with me or you were against me, and that is not a way that I enjoy being in life. So I was not enjoying my life, and I was not enjoying handball either.
So you could say that this season and this experience has made you a career after handball.
Yeah, definitely, because that was after that year, Paski offered me to go to see a sports psychologist. And because I didn't know what he saw, but he saw something, and I at that point I haven't been speaking to anybody about this. This is my war and my war alone. So I didn't speak to anybody, and I was worn out. So when I went to this sports psychologist, I didn't know what to expect, but she put a big box of tissues in front of me, and here you go. And I said, what do I need these for? And after 5 minutes, I was just like, wow! I lost it completely. And I was, I found it was such a big relief having a third person that doesn't have any issues with your life, or doesn't have anything to do with you besides that small room where she spoke with me. That was such a relief, and that was what inspired me to my career after the handball.
I ask you that because now you educated yourself as a coach. You are working as a coach. What kind of counseling, or how to say, are you giving to your?
It's not. Yeah, sorry. It's not counseling, because the way that I do coaching is actually I ask questions, and my main focus is to step away from the conversation, or let the the other person step forward so they can see the meaning of their life and of their choices. Because the way that I coach is that they have to have the ownership of their life. If I'm counseling, if I'm giving advice, then I'm taking ownership of their life, and I don't want it to be that way, because the decisions that they make are theirs to make, and also theirs to have the ownership over. So if that makes any sense to you guys, that's the way that I work.
It makes, but actually I think it must be difficult if you from the outside see something very clear, for example, and your, let's say, patient is not seeing that, to just hold it for yourself, right?
That is why it's for me so important to have an educated coach in front of you, or therapist, because if you cannot see yourself having that good advice and holding it back, then it's not coaching. Then you're taking ownership over the other person, and for me that's the wrong way to go about it.
So for athletes nowadays, would you go for handball players, let's say, would you go more for a sports psychologist to treat players, or for a coach? What do you think?
Or a therapist at these times also. But I think you can train mentally. There is something about training. But my main reason, or my main way of approaching a player is still this open path. So they have to find their meaning. They have to find back to their values. Have to find out why they're doing what they're doing. Because in the world of sports that is ever changing, and it goes on with such a big pace, I think it's very important to be sort of grounded in your own values, so that you can make this how to say that in English, that you know why you make the choices that you make, and beside that you can work with a lot of performing, how to say that, you can coach performing wise, but I think that the main thing is being very aware of your own values.
That's really nice. That's really nice. I think I would like to go back a little bit to handball. I don't know if you guys have some more questions to do to Jesper.
Maybe just adding to that topic, but if you had an advice to avoid situations like the one that you've been in, where you said, well, I've just seen black and white, and I was just either you're with me or you're against me. What would it be to avoid such situations for athletes, or for people in general? Because I do feel like that's not just a handball player's problem.
Yeah. I'll have to give you the advice that my mom gave me for so many years. She told me, you have to find somebody or a place where you can speak your mind. Just by the thing that just by speaking your mind, you hear yourself what you're thinking, and just by doing that is such a big relief. So find a spot where you can do that, either with a good friend, a therapist, or a coach. But the way, just get it out. Don't keep it in.
Good one. I like
that.
Sorry, Victor. I don't know if it
go
has
ahead.
anything to do with
Go ahead, Martin.
But I was more like, when you're moving from the different cultures, and you're moving from, let's say, Kolding or Barcelona, there are maybe some benefits about, Barcelona is a great city to live in besides playing handball, but you can also go to handball clubs where it's smaller cities, and you more have that kind of familiar feeling, because most of the people in smaller countries know the handball players, and Barcelona is still Barcelona, and you have the football team, and then you have the handball team. Do you think it was a better situation for you to go to Barcelona, or maybe a smaller city with the cultural difference, or was in general just the team very helpful when it came to a situation like this?
For me, For me, Barcelona was my dream club. Obviously, I fought really hard to stay there for 10 years. And for me, that's just also the thing that we don't speak that much about. But when you reach the top, the top is the top, and there isn't very much space here. So it's very easy to fall down. So you have to fight for it. But for me, Barcelona was my dream club, and for me, it has been some of my best years of my life, even though it has been really tough. But getting to know these guys, that still has a big part of my life. But also the way of living in Barcelona. You say a small town could offer maybe more knowledge to the players, but I actually enjoyed that the football had the most attention, so we could be more or less anonymous when we were in the city. But on the other hand, when we won the championship, the Champions League, then I saw other clubs celebrating in different ways, where the whole city was celebrating, and when you play in Barcelona, that is not the reality. So in celebration wise, I like to have tried it to be in a smaller city. But I tried it with the national team. Denmark is a small country, so we were lucky to
probably
get celebrated there.
Had a great party anyway.
Definitely. Always. You have to go party with Victor one day. He's really fun.
You like Caperinas, I know that for sure.
But I have a funny story about being anonymous or not. Do you remember, Jesper, when we had dinner in this Japanese restaurant next to the casino, and then we went, you and me, to the casino and played some roulette? I think it was a random Wednesday or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was 11:30 in the night. We were still inside the time frame of the internal rules of the team, and Jesper and me, we were both on fire. We were winning, in the roulette. It was like, oh my God, yes, this is our night. And then a guy approached to us, and he came like, shouldn't you both be at bed now? Don't you have training tomorrow? I said, oh my God, then this is a party pooper,
Yeah. But it was good. We went home and we won. I was almost ready to quit handball because it was so much easier to just go to the roulette.
All right, so black or red, what's next?
Black or red?
Yeah.
It's always red.
Always red. You heard it here first. I like it. Always red because you did end up going back to Denmark as well. Maybe that's the transition that we might want to find. How was it like to now have experienced it all? Because during your time in Barcelona, you did have huge successes with the Danish national team. You did have huge successes with Barcelona as well. That's why I called you Mr. Win It All 2.0. Sorry, Victor was first. But yeah, how was it like to be taking that step back?
It was a very consciously choice, or how do you say it? Is that correctly? I don't know. No, it was very. I made that choice because I saw that my career was ending. I had offers to stay outside of Denmark to play in clubs abroad, but I was seeing that my career was coming to an end, and I feared the end of my career. I was really afraid of the black hole after the handball. So I think, or I knew that I needed to go back to Denmark and start some kind of small business or prepare me to the life after handball. So that was why I went back to Denmark. To play in a very good club at a high level, but it was not like playing in Barcelona or playing in a championship club in Germany or Hungary or something like that. So it was a step down career-wise, but it was a step that I had to make because of my fear of the afterlife, if you can put it that way.
But the only step the only step it was left in your career, it was after retirement to go back again, and you
Yeah.
had the chance to do it
Yeah, actually, I had I was
in a
really
very good level.
Yeah, I was really struggling my first year.
Can you explain us a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
definitely. I had a lot of offers actually when I stopped playing handball, and so I was really tested on my decision to stop playing. First off, I had my home club where I started playing handball. They went into the best league in Denmark. They called me, could you please come and help us? And then Melsungen called also to have me come and play for them. I think Berlin called. And then I was really tested because Barcelona they called and wanted
This is what I
me
was
to come
looking
back.
after.
Yeah, and that was really tough. That was really tough. Saying no to Barcelona, but I also had to acknowledge that playing Champions League is really difficult, and I hadn't been doing anything for 2 months. I was so going back to Barcelona was, I think, for me it was too big a step.
But
it was really tough.
It was not only Barcelona.
Then we came to the final four at the end of the season, and then Philip Jicha, he called me. Oh Jesper, I really want you to come to Kiel. You just have to play the final four. Please come.
Oh my God! And
like,
you said no.
And I said, Philip, as much as I love you, I cannot do this for you, because the semi-final was against Barcelona. First of all, that's a no-go, and and wow, that was also very difficult. And then seeing the final four and seeing Barcelona win, that was just like, I missed out on the Champions League title.
Yeah, that must have been really tough to say no, and after that to see Barcelona winning the title. Do you really think that if you would have prepared yourself for 3 weeks, like a monk, just living for that, you couldn't do it?
Maybe, Victor, but I was not in a position. I was not prepared to do those 3 weeks, and I was not prepared to seeing myself in that position in Barcelona after 10 really good years. And what if I came back and just ruined everything for me because I got injured? I saw other guys going into positions being called back from retirement, and it's very difficult. It's on such high level. Everybody is so.
I love you.
So good.
I love you. But in my opinion, listening to your answer, this is a really small way of thinking. It's because even either you can trust yourself and put everything into it, or don't trust yourself. And in my way of seeing things, this explanation you're giving to us, it's like you didn't see the bright side of the story. You just saw the dark side of the story.
But welcome to my world, Victor.
Yeah,
that's the way. No, but I know where you're coming from, and I completely agree with you. But I have a very worried mind, and my mind has always been very worried, and it brought me far. But it also has, it also makes me do stuff like that.
So it's no regrets about these decisions?
No, the decision is the decision. So there are actually, I can tell you with a very calm heart that it is not a regret. I made a well thought decision.
Because it must also have been a little bit tempting, as you said yourself. There's been a lot of handball players in Denmark saying that who am I when I'm not the handball player that I used to be for the many years to come? And now you had an opportunity to be the handball player again. And that guy or man, you know yourself.
Yeah.
And it's actually a few people that in Denmark in general that are prepared for the afterlife after handball, because they don't really know what to come. And you spoke about small business yourself, so it sounds like you prepared yourself, but a little bit of tempting still, being able to go back to the guy and the handball Jesper.
Yeah, but you put it so nicely. That is the journey for me right now. Actually, I thought that when I was in this position, or seeing me playing handball and thinking two years ahead after stopping, I would think that I would be in a more confident place. I'm in a good place right now, but there are still days where I really doubt myself, and I really doubt or I don't know what I've become, what I have to offer. So all these black thoughts, they are a part of me, and they are a part of my worried mind. But that is so. The easy part would have been to go back into handball, but it is also one of my choices that I have made after handball is to take a couple of steps away from handball, because I needed to put some other values on my personality than just handball. I need to see me being able to do other stuff as well, and this is the hard part, because when you cut something where you have had so much passion, where you have been with so many great people, then it's tough. But hopefully it will be worth it.
Also, because you had so many years with handball, and you said yourself you had some offers within handball, because you see a lot of players when they're not playing anymore, they get a kind of different role. You have Michael Knudsen that are taking a different role, going the coach direction. Now you do it for your daughter on another level, but
but actually that has been that has been the great part, because actually when I came out of handball, I found out that it was such a big relief to let me go away from the performing part, the part where you have to be on top every day. It was such a relief for me. So going back training my daughter actually has been a very, very nice way of finding back to remembering what it's all about for me, why I started playing handball, because of the community, the fun, and being able to evolve with the ball. And that is something that I actually really, really, really miss now, is the fun part of playing handball, being with the guys in the locker room. That is the part that I'm missing. And I really, that's a big part, a big piece that's missing in my life right now. But actually, I really, really enjoy being with these girls, because they remind me of how amazing handball is, and how much a community it can be to young people and old men as well.
Talking about going out of handball, you did postpone your career end. So in the first place, you wanted to end it, I think it was after the 2019-2020 season. But I think it was probably a good idea to postpone it, because then there was one more year to play. And on the other hand, I think the COVID situation might have been a little more relaxed. How was it when you ended your career in summer 21? Were you able to end your career in style?
No. Actually, I was hoping to end my career in style. I took that last year because
that makes two of us.
Yeah, at first I thought I was going to play the 3 years of my contract, and there stop and go into another part of my life. But everything was going so well, and I saw my career path after handball quite clearly, and so when they offered me another year contract, I said, "Oh, let's enjoy one more year and see how it goes." and I went for that contract, and then came on COVID, and during that period, I was suffering from inflammation in my Achilles, and COVID made it stable and almost made it go away, but it didn't quite go away. So when we started up training after the COVID, I was just in so much pain. So the whole last year I was limping and I wasn't able to perform at my level. So it was a very uncomfortable year for me. I couldn't perform, I couldn't run. I was on painkillers the whole year. So looking back at that year, I recognized that I had been really lucky in my career, because I haven't been having that many pain, that much pain during my career. So ending up with a year of pain was not the way that I wanted to end my career, but that was the way it ended.
So you would want to change something regarding that, or are you in the retrospective being like, well, that's how it is and I gotta take it as it is?
I would really have loved to play a whole year without pain, and leaving the field playing, but the reality was another, and I cannot do anything about it. So I've come to a point where it doesn't matter to use your energy on that level. So I've moved on, and I cannot use my energy on something that I cannot change.
But you are using your energy on many good things right now. So after your career, just as you said, you started coaching your daughter. What else do you do after your career, despite of getting naked on social media and swimming pools?
Wearing swimsuits and on social media. I knew that was something for you, Victor. I did it just for you.
We would need 3-4 more episodes of this podcast to talk about all these social media things and TV programs and all this show you are putting in.
I did some really stupid stuff my first year after finishing handball. I let myself a little bit loose. I did a lot of TV programs in different styles after my career. So I actually ended up wearing a mask, a costume, singing on a stage on a national TV.
So like Masked Singer?
A Masked Singer. And I went to Grand Canyon, and I sailed 400 kilometers on the Colorado River for 16 days on a TV show as well. I was a TV host on a charity show, and during that time I also worked as a coach. I started a small paddle tennis center, and I started to study as a psychotherapist. I was doing, how to say that in English, doing public speeches with a group of other handball players. So we had a tour all over Denmark. So looking back, I've been, and at the same time, I had to try to be a dad as well, and a husband.
I'd be
so
tempted.
actually, my daughter, she told me, because I had told her, Luna is my smallest one. I told her that now I'm stop playing handball, and I will be more at home. And she came to me one day, and she looked me in the eyes, and she told me, "Dad, you told me that you would be more home, and now you're lying." That was a wake up call. So after that, I tried to do it a different way.
I'd be tempted to say you were young and needed the money, but that would only be partly correct, right?
I was old and stupid and trying to test myself.
Yeah,
Did
well,
you use the time wisely? Because Victor, he declared himself a little bit of a great paddle player. How would you rate your own skills?
My skills as a paddle player, I'm a horrible paddle player, and everybody is picking on me because as a center owner, when you own courts and you're not really good, then everybody has some expectations of your level. So when they see me in the pitch, everybody's getting disappointed and everybody's picking on me.
You know that Bengt, Martin, and me, we just bet that they can play together against me on a paddle game. Yeah, I would rather to play alone than to play with you, Jesper.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that maybe I should go and play with you, and they would have a chance.
No, thank you. No.
No, they will have a chance to win at least.
Okay,
And
I
we'll-
play with you.
we'll come over to your paddle center. That sounds like
That's an
sounds
open
like a proper idea. Yeah, well, I mean, right now would probably be the best time to beat Victor because, well, as much as Martin said that how good of a paddle player he is, he broke his spine while playing paddle. That's what Victor told us before this episode.
Twist.
I'm injured. Yes, I'm injured. I twisted my spine and I have some pain going down to my right leg. So I just need 1 week of relax and I will be back, I went to the
Superman.
1 week.
You broke
I
broke
went-
your back, but 1 week of recuperation, and you're ready
yes,
to go.
of course. But you know why, Jesper? I went to the team doctor and he gave me so many pills that after 1 week, the pain
Of
will be away.
Of course, he's the
Great.
champ.
But yeah, I just to get back a little to your activities after your handball career, it does look like you are involved in a bunch of solidarity projects, aren't you?
Yeah, that was also one of the big points that we. Yeah, I'm a big sucker for charity.
But
so
that's a good thing.
I cannot help getting involved.
What are your current projects there? Maybe you can take us with you.
Right now, actually, there aren't any current projects.
Then what's your
because
latest?
I'm the latest. I was a charity host, and we'd also made a charity event for a small child hospice in Denmark. So that was also where we collected money for them. Actually, last year I collected money during the holidays because of I made you could win the jersey of FC Barcelona with Messi's signature if you donated money to the Mother's Help in Denmark. So that must be the latest project that I did.
Well, sounds great. And if you guys out there want to follow the social projects that you are doing, you can follow Jesper on Instagram because you do document it very properly what you're doing there. And you do document other things over there as well that are worth seeing. So if you want to see Jesper in black fishnet stockings, that's your address as well. Did you start
Definitely.
wearing them again?
No, because when I look at that picture that's in the Instagram, you see there I'm at my highest. I've been working out a lot. I've been doing a lot of biceps, a lot of push-ups, and everything is really nice. But when you stop playing handball and you stop doing exercises, then the body changes as well, and I think that I don't have the body to wear fish stockings right now.
Yeah, well, then we can just enjoy the pictures that are still there from your active time. And I do feel like we could steal way more of your time, but we have stolen 1 hour already. And that's why I would say you are the longest guest in the Spin We Talk Handball, and we enjoyed
sorry.
talking to you a lot. No. Yeah, don't be sorry. It was great chatting with you. But if you guys don't have questions anymore that are burning on your tongue.
Not in my side, because if I ask one more thing, he's gonna speak for 30 more minutes, you know.
And I would appreciate that as well. But still, we got some other topics that we need to talk about. But today is not the last day of the Spin We Talk Handball, so we might get back to you one day. You have been an amazing guest, and I want to thank you a lot for your time. It has been great talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much. You have been so inspiring.
Take that sarcasm out of your face.
Why do I love and hate that guy that much?
Well, maybe because of that last sentence. I think that was exemplary for that. But still, thank you a lot, Jesper. I enjoyed talking to you a lot. And with that, I wish you a lovely rest of your day, a lovely weekend, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for your daughter's handball team that you guys can reach all your goals that you have.
Yeah, you have to keep them crossed because we are really bad.
But what a way to end the interview. Once again, thank you, Jesper.
Maybe it's the coach's fault and not the players.
Definitely. It's always the coach. Always.
Cool. We catch you around, Jesper.
Take care and
Bye-bye,
good luck with
Jesper.
everything. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Same to you.
Wow, what an inspiring chat that was. I actually didn't expect it to be that much of a deep talk.
I know him. I know him quite well, and I know how hard it was for him this season in Barcelona, and how resilient he was. And after that, he raised from his own ashes, you know. So he has been an example for a lot of his teammates during this time in Barcelona. And I knew he would be a nice guest, and we would have a very interesting topics to talk with him.
Yeah, most definitely. I was actually super surprised, but I loved those personal insights that he gave us, and a very important message that if you're feeling bad, that you got to get it out of the system, because that is such an important thing. And whether you are a professional athlete or not, when you got something that you are coping with right now, just go and talk to people about it, because we're all in this together, and you are not alone out there. And I like that message that Jesper brought out to us.
But it also says a lot about Jesper that he didn't quit when he had the chance to do so, because a lot of players would probably have done so when they got told that they didn't have a future in the club. And he kind of turned that around and turned it into, the inner fire for him. And then it ended up as a great story. And in some way, I don't know why, but I kind of forgot about that episode or that situation in Barcelona, but probably it has something to do that he ended up in a great way. And great player also. We didn't get to talk about him that much about his technique, but to me, he was also one of the line players that actually, I wouldn't say get famous for his kind of trick shots, but he was one of the line players that, could do more than just the regular shots.
Victor, what's your favorite memory together with Jesper?
We have so many
Which title
memories
to choose
together.
from?
I would say the Champions League in 2015 when we won all the titles this season. It was 7 out of 7 titles for us. I think it was a team to remember, with Sigurdsson, Karabatic, Jesper Nøddesbo, Sergei Rutenka, Kirill Lazarov. So it was an amazing team and amazing memories from that season. But I have a lot of memories outside the playing court that are probably better than that, because we are both really good friends, but our wives are very good friends, and our kids know each other, and we like to spend some time together in summer. We don't do it every summer because he as he told us, he has a very busy schedule, but I have amazing memories, and I would probably choose the personal ones, because I think that as a player, when you have some success and you have some stability in your team, you don't realize how important is the support of your people or your teammates until you have a bad moment in your career. And when I had a bad moment in my career, Jesper was this kind of person that he always was next to me to just say, how are you doing? Just this simple question, how are you doing? And then it gives you the strength to just talk about it. As he said, you just have to spit it out, because otherwise these bad things that are inside your minds are going to eat up inside, So I couldn't choose only one memory with him.
Yeah, I can totally understand, and I do feel like it is great spending time with that guy, if it's in a pub playing roulette or if it's on summer vacation together with the families. Very many sides to Jesper Nøddesbo, and that's when I would say let's close that chapter. It was nice talks, but we gotta have an eye on the clock, because we have a superstar amongst us that needs to play a little beach handball today for once more, and we still got a little bit to talk about. We can't talk about everything that happened in the Machineseeker EHF Champions League this week, but I do feel like there are 2 or 3 matches where we can put the spotlight on, and for me, I want to start with the team that I predicted to eventually end up winning it all, but started losing their games, because THW Kiel was the host for Kielce this week in the match of the week. And Kiel, to me, surprisingly, ended up taking it home. Martin, you said that you weren't able to watch the match, right?
No, I didn't have the chance down here to watch it. I saw, the statistics and, some of the highlights, but not the entire match. I know our Irish friend Chris O'Reilly commentated THW against Kielce, so I got some of it with me. And when I look at the statistics, also one of the things that come through, they are out with Alexis Chebayev, but also in general, they are missing out Andreas Wolf. And you can see that by the saves Kielce had, although they only lost with 4 goals. I think, if I recall correctly, they only had 6 saves. And, 6 saves in a Champions League match away against THW Kiel, it's obviously not in the best position if you want to, come out as the winner, although they were leading by halftime. But saves in general changes matches, and they will give you victories, and 6 saves is a little bit too less. And having in mind what Wolf did last season, it's obviously is still a big loss for Kielce.
Yeah, especially in the first half. It wasn't a goalie game, so I think it was Sami Belasen who started for Kiel, and he started off with a save that looked quite alright, but the next 9 they all went past him, and Kielce was able to score each and every shot. But on the other side, it looked exactly the same way. So I think Wallach in goal for Kielce, he started off quite alright as well, but then the goalkeepers in the first half, they weren't a factor at all. Kiel did change their goalies in half 1 already, and Tomáš Mrkva, he substituted for Belasen. Didn't look too good in the first half either, but then the start of the second half, that was basically what Kiel wanted, because Mrkva, he saved 5 in a row or something like that, and Kiel was able to go away.
When we talk about goalkeepers, we always say that they just make the difference in handball, and I really think that this game between Kiel and Kielce, it's just the perfect example of that, because as you said, Balach, he didn't have a good game. I didn't see the statistics, but just from watching the game, 6 saves, it looks too much, because the feeling was that every shot from Kiel, it was going inside. And then, as you said, Bengt, Belasen, he was not playing well in the first 20 minutes. Then Mrkva went in, and it was when he started to save some balls, some clear balls from 6 meters, from 9 meters, when Kiel had the chance to put some goals in between them and Kielce, and ending up winning the game. So the main difference, it was the goalies in the second half.
Yeah, totally. And Kiel looked a little more stable, and that's actually what surprised me when you're looking at the bigger context at THW Kiel right now, because in the league, it isn't running quite well, but then in the Champions League, they won 4 out of 4. In the first 3 weeks, we were talking about, those were the smaller opponents that they had, but Kielce last week, or last round, they beat PSG, and they beat PSG without Alex Dushabayev. And that's where I was a little bit surprised that they didn't start the way that they played against PSG. So Morito wasn't in the right backcourt.
Of course, these 2 players that are injured in Kielce are 2 key players, Alex and Andreas. They are so important for them, and probably it's the 2 players that are more important in the team. But you never know. Every game is different, and Kielce, I think they tried their best, because it was also a little surprising for me that Gebala started playing in attack, so he didn't change in attack and defense, and he started playing in attack, and Zico was in the bench in attack in the first minutes. But every game plan is different, and Talan Dutsebayev is much better than us doing that.
One could say so, yeah. Just a little bit.
But you never can count Kiel out, because Kiel, oh my God, they are such a team, and they have a lot of experience in the team, and they have Filip Jicha as a coach, and you can never count them out. And Kiel in the Bundesliga, I'm so sure that they will be, at the end of the day, being one of the contenders to win the championship.
Probably, and the season is still long enough. I think it's 7 or 8 matches played in the Bundesliga, and there's still a lot to be decided. One guy that I want to point out is the man of the match of that match of the week. It's Skipagritu, the Faroe Islands guy, the guy from the Faroe Islands, who is finding his role in the center back position, because he did end up scoring 7 out of his 13 shots, especially middle of the second half. There were some decisions that weren't the most clever, to say it like that, but eventually those are some steps that he needs to go through. So those are some development steps, but he did take the responsibilities. He did take the shots from very far out. Those were the ones that didn't end up going into the goal, and that was the stage of the game where Kielce ended up getting a little closer to THW Kiel, but eventually he ended up finishing his shots and putting them into the net. He's one to look out to, and he might be a key factor for Kiel to end up being successful this season again.
Oh, well, we spoke about him in one of the episodes earlier, where in some way I don't think we can rely on him to be the main center back or the main man for THW Kiel when they have other guys like Bilic and another guy that also played really well and has probably one of the hardest shots, fastest shot in the world, Erik Johansson. He also made 7 goals out of 10 shots. But yeah, Skipagritu played a great game, got some experience from Sävehof last year. He's a guy to watch out for, as you said, and he's performing, but I would still say that Dunjak, Bilic, Erik Johansson and all the other guys are probably the ones that have to take the biggest pressure out of them on the shoulders.
Well, especially talking about... go ahead, Victor.
I agree with Martin. I think that he is an amazing talent. He is a really, really good player, but he's still young in this position. And to be a center back, in my way of seeing handball, he needs to reduce the mistakes, the lost balls. In my opinion, a center back, he can play a very, very good game, only scoring 2 goals or 1 goal or 3 goals, but not making a lot of mistakes and making your teammates play a little more. And in this case, Skipagotu, it's this kind of player that he plays a lot for himself, and he missed 6 shots. I think that's too much, and I think that he has the potential. He is a really good player, and I'm sure that Filip Jicha is going to be cleaning this diamond that he has on him and shaping this player to be a much better player than he is right now.
But isn't that part of the progress? That when you are at such a young stage of your development and you are that good already, that it is allowed to do some mistakes?
Yeah, it's allowed if your coach allowed you to do it. But I think yes, it can be part of the process. The good thing on it is that he has the character to go out in the Bunderini Arena against Kielce with 11,000 people and do his thing. You know, he has this character, he has these guts, and this is something you cannot shape. The character, you have it or you don't have it, but the talent that he has, it can be shaped. So I think that, of course, this is part of the process.
That's true what you're saying about, how can you say, feeling comfortable in these kind of situations. But as we also said, you have to have in mind he's 21 years old, and performing for Sävehof is different than performing in THW Kiel, where you really have to deliver week in and week out. And it's also a hard fine line between putting too much pressure on the younger guys and giving the time for them to adapt. Coming from the Faroe Islands, living in Sweden, now living in Germany. I don't know how good his German is, but new culture, new league. We spoke about it with all the guests, also Jesper today, and some of the other guests. You need a little bit more time, and well, he's performing. I would even say that he's performing better than I expected him to. Not that I didn't expect him to do well, but he needs to settle him first, and then after 1 year, probably we will see what he's capable of. So this year is like. There are other players in the team that are more experienced and have been playing in Kiel and know what that means to be playing in the white jersey, and we will see that with the time.
And especially, I didn't expect him to get all that trust from Kiel and from Jicha to be playing in one of the most important games so far, because I think that's what it is for Kiel. It was one of the most important games of the season yet, because it was the toughest opponent to face them in the Champions League so far. And in the league, well, we all know where Kiel is standing, but still, that 21-year-old guy, he gets the confidence. Yeah, he gets the trust from the coach, and that gives him the confidence to play on that level. And I'm super impressed by that. I am very much impressed by that. But I'm super impressed by the Faroe Islands anyways, because it doesn't get into my mind how a 50,000 people country can perform on that level. And it is like that in football as well. They produce talents over and over again. Where do they get these people from?
Yeah, that's a good question, because as you said, the population is not that big. Yeah, Victor, go ahead.
No, I think we should have a Faroe Island player or coach as a guest and ask them this question.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I am going to write that down immediately, because I love it. We might go for Skipagotu anyways, or some other player, because I feel like that is a good idea, and it is a very good idea to talk about the This Spin We Talk Handball Derby. I am going to put it in that direction. Martin, what was up with your GOG boys?
Yeah, I don't know how to put it. It looked really tough in the first half, and Barcelona was definitely doing a great job. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not surprised that Barcelona won in Barcelona, but 20-11 by halftime was probably more than I thought it would be. But again, for the people who doubted Barcelona before the season without Fabregas and Centric, they are starting. The season is still long. They're starting to show off that, okay, they can do well without two world-class players as well. And I have to say, DKMM is really delivering at a high level. And we said it earlier also, not in this match, Emil Nielsen did show, but they just have two great goalkeepers in general. It was a high-scoring game, but it most oftenly will be with Barcelona and GOG because they like to run with the ball. But yeah, in general, I have to say I'm impressed with Barcelona because there were a lot of doubts before the season to kick off when you lose two big names as Sindrich and also Margutrout. They have been dealing with it really, really well.
How's the atmosphere within the club, Victor?
I think that the atmosphere it must be good because they are delivering very good performances week in and week out, and I think that GOG came to Barcelona a little bit without many hope, because it was Lindskog out, Morten Olsen out, Persson out, Zachariasen out. Mensing started in the bench. So my feeling was that GOG didn't believe in themselves that they could win this game. That was my feeling. And then in the first half, they started playing. I think that when you try something new, because they started playing with 7 players in attack and it didn't went well in the first 3 attacks, they should have changed a little earlier, because I think that GOG is not a team made or prepared to play slow. They like fast handball. They like to run. And if you make some players to play in a different style, this can be wrong. And this is what happened yesterday in the first half.
Well, and then there was that outrageous DKMM who ended up scoring 10, I think it was out of 12 shots, right? And what I felt, his jumping height is just nuts. It was that goal for the 35-27 where he jumped off with both feet, and he was like, it felt like he was 7 meters in the air, and he just floats. Whenever he's in the air, he just floats, and he stands still for a second. That was really impressive for me. MVP worthy?
Of course, it's MVP worthy, as I predicted. I always have the feeling that when Dika wants to score goal, he is scoring goal. So thank God for the other teams that he doesn't want to score goal every time.
Martin,
he's
agree?
just an amazing handball player. Yeah, he's just an amazing handball player. But yeah, Victor had a point with GOG as well. And if they want to play 7 against 6, I think GOG does it mostly best with Morten Olsen on the court, because he's the experienced one with the more calm and clever head. And the GOG also in the end ended up playing with 4 youth 19 players. Of course, the game was over in the end, but still, I don't know if they were tired or it's just a bad excuse. Barcelona was also great. I don't always see it as a black or white when someone lose. It's just because someone was bad. Maybe it's also because the other team was really, really great. But yeah, DKMM, it's great for Victor's prediction with the MVP, but my MVP, Remeli, he also scored 10 goals, so I'm also satisfied with him for this week. It looks like the French right backs are in a really, really great shape at the moment.
Well, Europe is shivering ahead of January 2024. That's for sure. When they see those French guys stepping up and performing week in and week out. But there was one Spanish guy finally getting his time to perform. Paris de Vargas. He, surprisingly to me, very, very much surprisingly to me, he started between the posts in that match. Victor, did you see that coming?
Actually not. I thought that Emil was going to start because historically in Barcelona, when a goalkeeper has a good performance, it doesn't matter. The other goalkeeper starts the next game. But this was not happening this season with Emil. He started in Montpellier, and then he played also against Magdeburg, and then he played as well against Porto. And he delivered amazing performances in the three games. So I really thought that Emil was going to start, but then Ortega surprised us, and he started with Gonzalo, and Gonzalo played an amazing first half, like all the team did. So I'm very, very happy for Gonzalo because we are close friends, and I'm very happy for him because I know for a fact, he didn't tell me that, but I know for a fact that he needed to play like that.
Yeah, well, and there were major saves there. I do think of that one where he just stood still and raised his left arm, standing in goal, not even moving very much on a counterattack. That was massively impressive.
Yeah, that was amazing save.
They are the team that has conceded the fewest goals also in Champions League, and I think I said it earlier also with Emil and Perez de Vaca is probably as a team of goalkeepers probably the two best in the world, and Barcelona are benefiting from it, and they are showing the world right now what they're capable of. So it must be really nice to have a team when one guy is not performing, then you have another world-class goalkeeper just to get in and do what they do best and save balls.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's not like the other goalie isn't performing. The other goalie, Emil Nielsen, he puts on just an MVP performance as well. So when we did have a talk this week about who's leading in the MVP race, the name Emil Nielsen, that was dropped very, very rightly so, because it is great what Emil is doing so far between the posts. But yeah, for confidence reasons, it's probably a good idea to give Perez de Vargas that playing time, because he is a world-class player. He is a world-class goalie. That's what he showed us. And yeah, I think, Martin, what you said, showing the world what you're capable of, that is your motto for now, because I'm looking at the clock and it's time for you to perform. That German national coach, when he brought in Mario Götze for the World Cup final 2014, he said to him, show the world that you're better than Messi. And that's what I want to give you on the way.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna take that one. Let's see. I'm gonna text you guys after the game whether it's a happy smiley or a sad one. Then you guys will know, and hopefully it's gonna be a happy one, because it means a lot to move on, and we spend a lot of time preparing ourselves, and now we have a moment to show what we're capable of, and let's see if we are. But I'm actually more of a Cristiano Ronaldo guy than a Messi, and I'm in Portugal now. So
oh no.
Sure.
It was so emotional what you just said, and then you just everything up at the end of the sentence.
Oh, great. Well, I mean, Victor, you as a Barcelona guy, you can't be Team Cristiano. It's obvious.
But who, who with a little knowledge about football is more in a Team Cristiano than in Team Messi. It just.
You're in the minority here. I have to say that you're in the minority. I'm with Martin on that topic, so we're 2v1 once again. But great. Well, we will figure that out eventually.
So we can always edit the last thing out where I said the thing about Cristiano, and it will still be emotional.
Okay.
I think those are chats that the three of us are going to discuss with a beer in a bunch of time, but not for now. Because this is not a football talk, this is a handball talk. It has been a great episode. It is the longest episode that we ever recorded, but with a great chat. I really enjoyed talking to Jesper. I enjoyed talking to you two guys as well. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed, not just for Jesper's daughter's handball team, but for you, Martin, as well, and for Rødby Beach Handball, because you guys, I want to introduce you as the champion of the champions next week, and if that is not enough for you to give it all on the pitch, I don't know what is.
That will be, then I will never be, just worthy to the introduction that you have given Victor, but it's gonna at least put something into my CV.
Yeah, well,
and that would be great.
It's something cool.
And remember, we don't have to compare. I can settle for something less than that.
Yeah, that's great. Victor, Martin, thank you a lot for your time, and I would say we will hear each other once again next week when it's time to talk handball again.
Ball across the Dylan. He double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Into the net.
She does it again. Yes.
Van Bengt on the champion.